Welcome friends to a Halo lore video. Today we return to the Forerunners, whose brilliant minds have forged and shaped many worlds. We're going to look at some of those worlds and tell you about them. Let's get straight into it. Now the first one we turn our eyes to is called Oinks. Now some consider this the Forerunners' greatest achievement. To some it just looks like another unremarkable planet that does not stand out in the Zeta Doradus star system. But that is just a shell, pretty much made up of sentinels. These sentinels have been designed with that in mind. They have been made to mimic or duplicate the impression of the environment of a terrestrial planet, and guard entry to the sarcophagus. Now, there's a little history involved here. There's a meeting of chance between the Covenant and human forces, and it's during that the real form of the installation is revealed. A massive Dyson sphere with a diameter, according to the Halo Encyclopedia, of 2 astronomical units, yet contained within a slip space bubble merely 23 centimeters in size. Now, during this chance conflict, the shell was destroyed, and eventually the sarcophagus was brought out of its slip space confinement and brought into the normal space. And there it enveloped Zeta Doradus, that's the star system, and its 3 orbiting planets in the process. Now, currently, humans, perhaps fascinated by this technology, have a research station there on its inner surface. And there they host a task force that encourages deep exploration of the installation's immense interior by way of a multi-species coalition. Next we look to the Absolute Record. It's an installation dedicated to the archiving and cataloguing of all Forerunner instruments and technology. Repositories like this play an important role in the preservation of information, or data clusters if you will. It serves as a storage matrix for much information. Now, after humanity's war with the Covenant, an imprint left with the librarian was transferred from a repository site on Earth to join others within the Absolute Record. Now, this further consolidated the Life Shapers' experiences and influences within these ancient archives. Later on, Requiem, another of the librarian's imprints, gives humanity access to something called the Janus Key. Now, the encyclopedia describes this as a device by which they could finally locate and interact with the Absolute Record. Now, this effort, this endeavour, would cause a lot of conflict and a lot of conspiracy, but it would end with denial. The denial of all modern civilizations and their access to the site, at least for the moment. And this was the judgment of the record's ancilia caretaker. Now the third of the places we're going to look at here is called Trove, or Shield 0459. Now, amongst the Shield worlds, many were designed with the idea of being able to house key battle groups in the Forerunner fleet. Now, the Etran Harbourage was a place where there were stored several prime dragon tridents, held at the ready time after time to be launched if needed, either as a failsafe, where they would perform the function of raising the inner surface if the event arose that it was breached by the flood, or as an exploratory emergence group. That is if the Forerunners' defense measures succeeded. During the height of the Forerunners' conflict with the flood, the surface was overrun. 3 Prometheans, called Malice Begets Demise, Animus to Remain, and Habit to Severe, fought incredibly hard to stop the flood's advance, in order that the worlds damaged monitor 295 Harken Watch will be saved, and with the end goal of ultimately sealing off Trove's interior. Then, after they had succeeded, the installation was dormant until discovery by the Covenant and also human forces. They engaged each other, those forces, in combat, and the result of it was a solar detonation, and that destroyed the entire world, scattering its remnants around the Corinth prior system. Now this next one is the first of its kind, and it's called Requiem, also known as Shield 001. Now it was part of the Didact's solution to the flood. It was capable of bringing to bear incredible military force through both fleet deployment and weapons on the surface. And with these capabilities, it would effectively be able to protect entire regions of the galaxy. Now, Requiem itself was made from a series of concentric planetary shells enclosed within each other, and all that was hidden beneath a greatly armoured surface. Inside, the sections there were covered in defensive systems, weapon arrays and shipyards. Now, as is the case with other shield worlds, the outer shell is pretty much impenetrable and can stand even immense hits of firepower. So within that, Requiem could shelter whatever it contained from the neural physical effects of the halo when it's activated. And thus, with that ability, the installation's principal application at the end of the Flood War was to serve that role of protecting. The librarian in charge there, however, would use that capability for a completely different purpose. Now, after the Didact's merciless crime against the humans, the librarian bound her husband within a cryptum and buried him at the centre of Requiem. The hope being that when he was awoken by the Reclaimers, that's the Forerunner's name for humanity, he might serve in their ascendancy. However, that would not be the case. The Halo Encyclopedia says, after the Didact was unceremoniously composed on Gamma Halo, the humans' struggle for the Shield world against Covenant forces ended up sending Requiem on a collision course with its local star. The local star is called Epilogue. This caused a energy burst, with the consequences of a solar destabilization. This destroyed Epilogue, and it would leave no trace of Requiem with which people could confirm its demise. And the final one that we're going to learn about today is called Kamchatka. Now, this is one of several ice worlds that were marked for interest by the life workers. The conditions on the world were used to create massive rehabilitation complexes linked together beneath the planet's icy layers. A key component of this are domain nodes, We are told that they are built to give people access to the knowledge of the Empire. You can see here some of the scope and scale under which the Forerunners see the galaxy, like it's their science lab almost. Now, this planet was hidden for a long time, but when the Covenant is given an element of rebirth by Jul Madama, a fleet goes there to take the world's technology. This is done at the behest of Dr. Kathleen Halsey. And their presence there also did another thing. It woke up the defences of the planet. So they are immediately launched into a battle. And all along this was a subterfuge by Halsey, who used the exploration there as a way to draw the UNSC Infinity to that position. From there, as the encyclopedia tells us, Fireteam Osiris managed to navigate this chaos, eliminating Madama and securing Halsey. The surface of the planet is now, once again as it was, a silent and icy world. The intruders that had walked there are now gone, and the weapons that were deployed long withdrawn. And that, friends, is where I'll end today's video, but I will get back to the Forerunners very soon.